That's the first thing that brought in it was water.
Call to order, regular board meeting. Roll call, please.
Trustee Williams. Here. Trustee Oscar Brown.
Here.
Trustee Payton.
Here.
Trustee Griffin.
Present.
Trustee Dead.
Here.
Trustee Mary Brown.
Here.
And Mayor Covington.
Present. Please join me with the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motion for approval of the minutes. So moved. Moved by trustee Griffin, second.
Second.
Second by trustee Ruiz. Any questions? Comments? Roll call, please.
Trustee Williams. Aye. Trustee Oscar Brown.
Aye.
Trustee Payton.
Aye.
Trustee Griffin.
Votes aye.
Trustee Rupert.
Votes aye.
Trustee Mary Brown.
Votes aye. Oh, I'm sorry. Abstain. Abstain.
Mayor Covington.
Aye. Unfinished business. Being new business. On the agenda, first, second, and third reading. We can put on mic so you can hear me. As ordinance repealing and replacing all provisions of ordinance number 02014-58 of the Village of University Park, Cook and Will Counties, Illinois, establishing a municipal gas tax and amending the code of ordinance of the Village of University Park. Hear a motion? So moved. Moved by trustee Griffin, second.
Second.
Second by trustee Milton Payton. Questions, concerns?
Yeah,
Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Mayor, just maybe the village manager can fill us in on, because I understand some language was changed. Could you just maybe share with us what language was changed and what was the purpose of the changes?
I was gonna say, if you didn't mind, I wasn't trying to step on your toes. I think I was the one that best able to, because I received a phone call from a representative from NICOR, and they were saying that the ordinance which is ordinance number 0201458, the one that was previously approved, I think it was back in December of 14, it did not conform to their form ordinance that they use. And so that was really the only reason NICOR asked if we could replace that particular ordinance with their standard form ordinance. And that was the phone call I received, and hence I informed the village manager of that.
Okay, were there any, if they changed the language, were there any changes of any material kind?
No, because like the rate of the 4 1/2 cents per therm, none of that stuff changed. They just added, I think that there were a couple of more definitions that they added, and then it was really just it was a little bit longer, but there was nothing substantive, like no figures of any sort of change.
Okay. On page 3 of the ordinance, paragraph F, the last paragraph at the bottom, it says the tax shall apply to gas for which the delivery of the retail purchaser is billed by the public utility on or after, and then there's no date there.
That's correct, and that's because that's a date that I'll do the ordinance, and then if there's a date that I know I wouldn't have, any information, I'll send it over, sometimes to students, say, hey, you'll have to fill this in for me. And so I think that's really the only reason that that's that way, is because I didn't know the actual date to fill in, but because it has the language on the side that it must match the date of the agreement, I wasn't gonna have to match that, so it's not.
Okay, and what's the agreement? Is that the same as the ordinance?
So the date. And that's the date that it's going to have to end up being. Well,
So this wouldn't refer to any agreement with NICOR? This is just our agreement with what? It's just, this is ordinance itself?
No, it's just that the village has to determine the actual date in which the tax shall apply to the gas for the delivery, which is billed by the public utility on or after. So that's just the date that we're on.
Any other questions?
But there's no, just so that you understand, there's no substantive change from the one in 2000 that you passed in December of 2015.
Okay, and the date here, this is the actual date, but how would that affect as far as the gas cost of what we could collect? I mean, will it eliminate rather, November, October, December?
On that item.
Will we be able to do that, or will the date start now? Because that's the change.
No, that's not, it's not going to eliminate,
Okay.
no, it will not.
Okay, so we'll be able to collect the summer, the winter months, you think?
That's correct. See, any anticipation or expectations that you had prior to this, it's not, this doesn't change that.
Okay,
It just is a cleanup for now.
okay, all right.
So for clarity purposes, the date that will eventually go in there will be the date where this was originally passed, because that's the effective date essentially for us to collect all of the taxes from those that
So
we're
whatever,
getting from brokers, right?
so whatever date that was used, that was referenced in that 2014 ordinance it would be the same date that would go there. It was just that I didn't know that date, and so when I'll finalize, sometimes I'll send over, unfortunately, with a blank and say, hey, I need this filled in. That's the only reason that it was a blank, because at that time I didn't know what that date was.
Here on the courts, okay. Here, the treasurer on before the 15th day of the second month following the month in which the gas is used or consumed. So that's still, again, I'm just trying to get clarity as well. The fact that, trying to get clarification that we will be able, once this agreement is done, we can still go back and back charge gas company for those months that we should have, that they collected money on our gas bills. Okay, we have the date in here. Retail purchases billed on public utilities on or after, whichever date, would that date affect somehow the money that they've already collected on our previous gas bills for the winter months?
No, there's no disruption in anything. So this, you can, I know it sounds weird, but you can pretend like this, you can continue operating, collecting however you've been doing, because it's just, this is more of a cleanup.
Okay, great.
So it doesn't impact or anything that, there's no disruption of any collection or anything, that you know.
Thank you very much. Any other questions, concerns?
I have a question, I have a concern. Roll, section 3, roll C. It states that the village treasurer was not informed of this tax. I mean, I don't understand why the village treasurer's title is here if he has not been informed of any of this. I mean, is this standard verbiage? Is this what this is?
For me, yes, it's standard verbiage. And so what happened was that they informed me that this was a form ordinance that they needed. And, you know, I sent it over to the village manager. That's all that I can do is say, hey, this is what they need to continue operating the way that they have been. And then it's up to you to determine whether or not you want to accept it. So as far as, you know, you being personally informed by me, that,
I believe the finance director, she is the person that, get this tax. Anything that has to do with the taxation with this village is under the finance directors or the village manager's direction, and not the treasurer. The treasurer does not actually get anything as far as taxation goes with this village.
are you familiar with the previous ordinance that was implemented back in 2014 as far as?
I have not been informed of any of this, so
The only-
everything reverts back to me, like I'm the one that, have anything to do with any taxation or, like for instance, I believe there was a service fee of 3%, and it says that of the amounts collected and timely remitted to the village treasurer. Well, like I said, nothing was never remitted to me or anything of that nature. I'm pretty sure that it probably has been remitted to the finance director, so.
Village is full. That's correct, true.
The only thing I can say is that once, as the attorney, I just pass the information along as far as what they're saying is required. Whether or not you approve it, or whether, I'm not able to determine if the person that's listed here is the appropriate person that should be doing it. That's not really for me to decide. So the only thing that I can say is that once I pass it on to the village and say, hey, they're saying they need this, the one that we passed before isn't gonna do, that's a decision that the municipality has to make as far as whether or not the language in here is acceptable, if you want to change it. On its face, it's acceptable language. This is their standard language, I will say that. But as a town, if you're not comfortable with it, then I have to be informed of that, and then I have to try to negotiate with them. So that's why I guess it's here before you, and if you're not comfortable with it, then that's a different discussion that we have to have. But understand that the ordinance that you passed in 2014 was very basic, and I thought it was, it didn't say too much. To them, that was not sufficient, and they wanted their form ordinance. So I say that only to say, I don't know how much negotiating they will do, but if that's the direction that I'm given, of course, that's what I will.
Okay.
Thank you. Roll call. Sorry, roll call.
Trustee Williams. Both aye. Trustee Oscar Brown.
Aye.
Trustee Payton.
Aye.
Trustee Griffin.
Votes aye.
Trustee Rudin.
Votes aye.
Trustee Larry Brown.
Votes aye.
And Mayor Covington.
Aye.
Mayor Covington, that's ordinance O 2015-08.
Thank you. Resolution approving the Will County Road Storm Sewer Outfall Contractor Payout Request for number 6.
You missed, you skipped, I'm sorry.
D.
2B.
Oh, I'm sorry. First, second, and third reading, an ordinance repealing and replacing all provisions of ordinance number 0201504 of the Village of University Park of Will County, is approving an agreement by and between the Village of University Park of Holland LP. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Moved by trustee Larry Brown, second by Keith Griffin. Oh, Keith Griffin, okay.
Second by trustee Jones.
Okay, apologize, trustee Brown. Is there any questions?
Question.
Yes, sir.
Page 2, section 2. I want to strike the word mayor and put in board. Yeah, it should be board.
It normally says, it usually says board and the mayor and the board. Correction.
I just want to change it to board.
Could you tell me that page?
Since I signed.
trustee?
It doesn't matter, board,
The board,
prior to it, sir.
that's why I said board.
Attorney,
That's, it's, can be done by the mayor and board of trustees, and I think we actually,
right.
there's actually,
It says here to this board of trustees, and the change may be written by the board, and it's usually the board and the
by the
trustees.
mayor and the board of
Because I vote, so
trustees.
it's board and the trustees. They just move the language, the words over. That's normally what it says. Second, the mayor and the village clerk are hereby authorized to direct, execute, and deliver the agreement. All documents necessary, so it should say the board and the mayor, because we are voting bodies.
No, he's referencing section 2.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. And it's voted by all of us, because the mayor votes as well, so, and the trustees. So it can say mayor and board of trustees.
We cannot hear you talking to yourself. We can't hear you.
No, now I'm talking to the attorney.
Well, we like to hear that too.
Okay.
She's our attorney.
We would like to change it to say that it's going to be the board of trustees and the mayor, because we all voting bodies. Okay?
That's on page 10. right?
Yes, ma'am.
Page 2, ma'am. Page 2, section 2.
Yes, sir.
Page 2.
Mayor, then I would like to make a motion to amend the ordinance to reflect section 2 on page 2 to Board of Trustees and the mayor.
That's what I just said.
Yes, sir. Yeah, just want to make a note, sir. Okay?
It's trustee Payton and trustee Oscar Brown.
Second by trustee Oscar Brown. Any others? Roll call.
Yeah, I have just a general question, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
What was the reason for the changes? Why are we essentially redoing this? Were they
Yes.
specific changes that we should be notified about?
There were no substantial changes. You might recall when you first voted on it, there was a lot of blue lines through it. It was not a very clean document. So when we cleaned it up, there were, I think there were a couple of very minute things. One was the, and it was so minute I can't think of it, but they were very minute. We wanted to put in front of you a clean copy to vote on for the record, rather than when it was had the blue lines out. It was part of our official records. It had references, the other one had references to the TIF too, which we had lined out when we voted on it last time. And
Okay. Are the other, is there any reason why we're paying them a little bit lower, or prices are different, the rebates? You're saying here that the rebate tax savings, there is a savings now of millions?
the dollar didn't change.
The price from compared, well, I'll talk to you later off the line on that. Any other questions, concerns? Roll call.
This is on the
Amended, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, the
The
amendment.
amendment.
The amendment, the amendment.
Yes.
Approve the amendment. Yes, sir.
Trustee Williams. Both sides. Trustee Oscar Brown. Trustee Payton. Trustee Griffin.
Both sides with your changes.
Trustee Rudez.
Votes aye.
Trustee Larry Brown.
Votes aye.
And Mayor Covington.
Aye. Now vote to approve the ordinance, please.
Okay.
Roll call.
Okay. Trustee Williams. Both sides. Trustee Oscar Brown.
Aye.
Trustee Payton.
Aye.
Trustee Griffin.
Both sides.
Trustee Rudez.
Votes aye.
Trustee Larry Brown.
Votes aye.
And Mayor Covington.
Aye.
Madam Mayor, that is ordinance 2015-09.
New business, first, second, and third reading an ordinance accepting the lowest responsible bid for the repair of the front porch at Regal Farms. Their motion.
So move.
Moved by trustee Griffin, trustee Rudez, second by trustee Griffin. Questions, concerns?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Was there a formal RFQ set out for this with specifications as to what should be done? Because I just noticed quite a few variations between the quotes that were returned. Ms. Childers?
No, there was not a formal RFP. The director went out and solicited quotes and bids from people who actually came out and viewed the project. She went through our minority contractors list for Village Hall, vendors that we were accustomed to doing work with, and had them all come out and tour it and give it what we felt was the best
Okay.
product.
Let me just point out some of the things that I've just got questions on. First of all, on the summary of the three quotes, we have Jones Remodeling there for $9,450. But when I looked at the Jones Remodeling bid, I thought I saw that on the last page of their bid, they had the total there of $15,200.
Trustee Payton, if you review it, that was for the front and the back porch. But at this time, we are only focusing on the front portion of the porch. So, because of time was of the essence, Mr. Jones was not able to get us a second one, so I just added this into the packet. But the front part of the porch is only estimated at the what was on the original agreement.
Okay, so did the other vendors also know about the second deck?
Yes, sir. It's actually the stairs of the back of the barn. In the office, if you ride over there, you'll see it. But nobody really uses the back part. Our focus right now is the front. It's over 30 years old. And because we have a lot of rentals, the need is greatly needed at this time for us to have a new
Absolutely.
porch.
I understand that. My question is really just understanding the variations that I saw in at least some of the write-ups in the bids here. So for example, also under the Jones Remodeling, in that same page where the $15,200 is, he's got the west porch. Is that the rear porch that we're talking about? Because under the west porch, he's got installed proper concrete footers. And I didn't see that on any of the other quotes.
Because based on the information and after reviewing the information with the maintenance staff, that was not actually needed.
Because I just read it, you know. At least I read it. Okay? So if you'd have read it, perhaps you would have had the same questions. Right, okay. Now also on the proposal for this Chris Cooper, I noticed that they had here a 3-foot knee wall around the perimeter of the deck finished, but I didn't see that knee wall on the other quotes as well.
Once again, that is something that is not needed. If you review the information, Total Roofing and Construction, with their information, they were more detailed in information, and we've used this company in 2012. They the company that was contracted out to do the roof over in the big barn.
Yeah, I understand that. Again, I'm just looking why. So for example, another one on this is the Jones, the Total Roofing quote. They included in their paragraph 8 on page 2 to furnish and install new oversized commercial gutters with downspout on the rear flat roof from the low end. And I didn't see that also in some of the other quotes. So it just makes me wonder if everybody, you know, got a consistent specifications to properly quote this, you know, the work. I don't have any issue with the work that's needed. My thing is to make certain that everybody is on the same page when they're doing a quote.
Everybody did receive the same information. All of them were instructed to come out back to back. So myself, along with the program supervisor, along with one of the maintenance guys, walked with them during this process.
Okay. Now, could you explain the issue with the roofing? Is this like, are they taking something down and then just partially repairing the roof? Because this is what I gather from the total roofing and construction services, but I didn't see that same kind of thing in the other quotes.
Trustee, I hate the pictures are not better visual, but if you walk on the porch and you look directly up, that was done a couple years ago. And when Public Works did do it, you can see the nails. And so when Total Roofing came out, because that's what they do, is professional roofers, they looked up and that's the first thing the gentleman said. And the other two companies looked at it and didn't even put that on their information. And once again, they were given the same information.
So that may explain, because, you know, you really are recommending the higher bid, which I don't have a problem with, you know, if you have had problems with others or if it's as it should be. Because the total roofing and construction services bid is $9,900, where the DBA Seacraft Chris Cooper was only $8,600, but it didn't include the same things that Total Roofing did, and you know.
And again, Mr. Cooper even indicated that he couldn't give us a solid quote because once he begins to do the work, it might be a situation where he might have to charge us extra, which is added in that first sheet.
That's all I got.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have standard and specifications when we do these things?
I'm sorry.
We have special specifications when we bid out things from you? or-
Yes, ma'am. We went through, again, the list that is currently at the Village Hall, we were provided that. We went through that list thorough, and no one on that list was certified to do this type of work that was needed. Most of them were not commercial companies. They were more or less residents that, you know, have small businesses and didn't get the information to us in time. The gentleman, Mr. Cooper, was referred to us by someone, and again, if you look at the back page, and again, I hate the pictures are not there, this is someone's deck on their house versus what we need.
No, I was saying, do we write up special specifications? We have jobs, we need this, we need this.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, concerns? Roll call.
Trustee Williams. Both sides. Trustee Oscar Brown.
Aye.
Trustee Payton.
Aye.
Trustee Griffin.
Both sides.
Trustee Rudez.
Vote aye.
Trustee Larry Brown.
Vote aye.
And Mayor Covington.
Aye.
Madam Mayor, that's ordinance 2015-10.
That's 10.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Resolution approving Willow Center Road Storm Sewer Outfall Contract Payout, request number 6.
So
There
move.
motion?
So move.
I'll move by trustee.
He's second.
I asked for
I move.
second by who?
Trustee Rudez.
Thank you, trustee Rudez. Questions, concerns? Roll call.
Trustee Williams. Both sides. Trustee Oscar Brown.
Aye.
Trustee Payton.
Aye.
Trustee Griffin.
Both sides.
Trustee Rudez.
Vote aye.
Trustee Larry Brown.
Aye.
And Mayor Covington.
Aye.
Madam Mayor, that's Resolution R 2015-05.
Thank you. Resolution urging the governor and general assembly to protect full funding of local government distribution fund revenues. This was something that was presented to all the mayors at Southborough mayor managers, and it was local and it was general, and this is something that we needed urgent attention. Roll call. Attention.
We need a motion and a second.
I'm sorry, motion?
So move.
Moved by trustee Griffin, second by trustee Rudez. Questions, concerns?
I have a concern.
Yes, sir.
Just in case this happens that 50% of our revenues are withheld, how's that going to impact our budget, or the budget that we're trying to formulate? And are we prepared? Do we have a contingency for that shortage?
And may I interject before he answers, trustee? Here is presented for your consideration approval is a resolution urging the governor of General Assembly to protect full funding of the local government distributive fund revenue. Governor Rauner proposes a 50% reduction in local shares of income taxes during FY 2016's budget address, and to attach resolution urges the governor and General Assemblies to protect the current level of government funding. Go ahead. The question.
According to this resolution, it wouldn't affect us. This is for 2016. I believe that the governor is proposing to make these cuts. I think this is something, it's a little bit beyond our, us to really get into at this point, because it seems to just be, I don't know if the governor has a clear understanding that those taxes are, they're not, they're in a fund, but they're not really the state's money. They belong to the local government. And it's kind of like the pension thing, like the pension situation where sometimes people will come into a situation they don't realize they don't really have legal access to certain monies, and they will attempt to use them. I understand there was a large forum, another mayor said she was part of it yesterday, where all the state representatives, just local senators, they all testified for the governor across the state of Illinois to explain that these are monies that are collected by the municipalities, by the state, for the municipalities. They simply hold them and disperse them to us. So the legislature would have to pass new legislation before the governor would even have the ability to reduce these funds.
Okay, and I'm saying, I know this resolution and the idea of what he's talking about is perfunctory. However, if the situation happens that the legislature does by some chance agree with him doing this, and this is the budget we are looking to formulate is 2015, 2016. And that's why I'm asking the question.
No, we would have to find some way to respond to it. We don't believe it to be likely, but we would have to find some way to respond to it, along with every local government in the state of Illinois would have to find some way to respond to it. We do budget for these funds, which we believe is appropriate. If the legislature decided they wanted to, we'd probably sue them for the money. But we would have to find some way to respond.
Do you have any idea how much it's worth to us? Because it mentioned in here that the amount would reduce statewide $600 million, but for our purposes, any idea of how much it would be?
Currently, we get state income tax, we get motor fuel tax, we get motor fuel, state income tax, and local use tax. I think those taxes probably total about $400,000 of our current budget, just off the top of my head. I'm not certain, but so if we were to lose $200,000, we'd have to find a way to make up a $200,000. So, I mean, I'm shortfall.
Roll call.
Trustee Williams. Vote aye. Trustee Oscar Brown.
Aye.
Trustee Payton.
Aye.
Trustee Griffin.
Vote aye.
Trustee Rudez. Trustee Rudez.
Vote aye.
Trustee Mary Brown.
Vote aye.
And Mayor Cummings.
Aye.
Madam Mayor, that's resolution 2015-06.
Thank you. Resolution dedicating a village right-of-way to the University Parkway Improvement Project Phase 3. Is there a motion? Motion by trustee Griffin, second by trustee Rudez. Questions, concerns? Roll call.
Trustee Williams. Vote aye. Trustee Oscar Brown.
Aye.
Trustee Payton.
Aye.
Trustee Griffin.
Vote aye.
Trustee Rudez.
Vote aye.
Trustee Mary Brown.
Vote aye.
And Mayor Cummings.
Aye.
Madam Mayor, that's resolution 2015-07.
Thank you. Attached for your approval is a listing of the general operating expenses For the Village of University Park, the following is a grand total of the everyday expenses for the last 2 weeks from February 24, 2015 to March 10, 2015. General operating funds is $408,865.24. MB Financial Special Purpose, $6,205. Road and Bridge, $4,504.55. Town Center Funds, $1,678.62. Golf Course, $33,591.13. MFT Fund, $34,929.39. Capital Project, $7,145.11. Payroll, $6,057.16. In a total of $502,976.20. Is there a motion? Is there a question? Motion. So moved. Motion by Trustee Rudez, second.
Second.
Second by Trustee Larry Brown. Concerns, questions? Questions, sir?
Check 84148, Menards American Flag repairs for Village Hall. I guess that's Village Hall. 3852.79. That seems a little high.
Yes, the description on that should not read American flag. Actually, the dollar amount that's really high in there is $2,000, where Public Works purchased 2 snow blowers.
Oh, okay.
So the
That's
majority of that
better, but I'm
2,000.
looking at the flag. I know flags are high, but
Yeah, it was a
That's
group
a
of
little high.
invoices paid out to Menards, but the bulk of that money is for 2 snow blowers.
okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it. Okay.
Any other, sir? Do you have any other?
I'm sorry. No, ma'am.
Anyone else? Trustee Wilson Page?
Yeah, it's probably the same thing, but for check 84139, for Lauderback Gaming LLP, it's set for $13,500. It's got legal fees, that's audit fees.
Correct.
Okay, it should be audit fees.
Audit fees.
Okay. Anything else? Roll call, please.
Trustee Williams. Vote aye. Trustee Oscar Brown.
Aye.
Trustee Payton.
I to pay the bill.
Trustee Griffin.
Votes aye.
Trustee Rudez.
Votes aye.
Trustee Larry Brown.
Votes aye.
And Mayor Covington.
Vote time. At this time, could I have a 2-minute recess for staff to leave? Reports of, reports of trustees. Trustees report.
I have a report.
Yes, reports. It's reports. Yes, it's just reports.
I have a report.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted to let the people know I have been asked a lot of questions, and I just wanted to let the people know that I am still working on the overpass, underpass, or sideway pass for the Village of University Park, because the cars are really getting heavy, especially with the students at Governor State University. It is really packed, and we really need it, and I am still working on it. And I want the students and everybody that lives here to know that that's what I'm doing. And also, I was asked about the GED classes. I don't know about them costing no $28,000. They said that while I was sick and in the hospital, Trustee Milton Payton kept telling them that. That is not true. So, and I will still bring those classes back so the people who want the GED classes can walk up here to take their courses. And that is what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee.
I have no report.
Trustee
Yeah, trustee, just as a point of information, when you were both missing and when you were here, I have complained about the amount of money that we spent on a GED program as a matter of priority. And we even discussed this as part of the bills payable, because there was one invoice for $20,000 and there was another for $6,000. I don't know where the 28 came from, but it was, so that if you added the two together, it was $26,000. So we did pay $26,000 for a GED program that one of our citizens also did a Freedom of Information Act with Prairie State College, and they could not document a single student that had gotten their GED program. So the village spent $26,000 of the taxpayers' money. And when there were other programs at Prairie State College, Creek Money High School, our library, and Governor State University, that the residents also pay for, since those are also taxing bodies. So yeah, if they came to you with that I said something, I absolutely did say something about it. Because as a matter of priority, I think it's a waste of the residents' money.
Okay. Okay. Trustee Payton, I don't know where you got your list of prices from, but they were not $26,000. Those classes were less than that, way less than that. And Prairie State will not give you information on anybody that graduated or did anything. It's against the law.
That's right. Okay. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I had a meeting today with South Suburban mayors and managers, village manager, Park Force, his public works director, Mr. Lanier, and the mayor. We met. We're going to enter into a governmental agreement to finish phase 3, which will go from Pulaski to the Metro line. So we are trying to get an April letting for that. So we had a meeting on that today and everything went well. So hopefully we can get that in line, and that'll be finished this year also.
Thank you, sir.
I have a couple of items I would like to speak on. The first item is kind of discouraging. It's shopping with one of our local vendors. And I would just like to propose the question to everyone here and our viewing audience. What is the law when it comes to putting on products that are sold over the counter with dates? This looks like a package that was taken out of a large package with no expiration date, no anything. And they're selling this to the people in our community. I don't want to call out the particular store, but there needs to be something done about them selling outdated products. This is what the real product should look like. It has a date, an expiration date. It's properly wrapped, and it says what it is. This is what's being sold to our young people in our community, and it just needs to be brought to everyone's attention that this stuff has to stop. We're not going to allow this in our community anymore. So that's step one. So everybody take notice to it, pay attention. We must enforce those things. We can't allow these things just to be sold, anything to be sold to our people in our community. Now, number two is a very, very big issue. For most of you guys and our viewing audience and at television, there was an opportunity for a variety of municipalities to deal with medical marijuana cultivation centers. As you may know or may not know, that the Village of University Park Board of Trustees had approved, I think the majority of the board approved 3 clients and some of the board only approved 2. But to make a long story short, there are still opportunities for us to be able to capture the revenue from the medical marijuana cultivation centers. According to the law, some of the companies that were awarded licenses have been disqualified and were never qualified from the start. The company that probably has the best chance to still come to University Park and create an economic development corridor which will provide hundreds of jobs and multi-million dollars worth of revenue to a majority minority community as University Park and the region is still pending and still on hold. There was a letter that I drafted to Director Philip Nelson, the acting director of the Department of Agriculture. I've also CC'd Governor Bruce Rauner, Honorable Michael Madigan, Honorable Lou Lane, which is the sponsor of the medical marijuana bill, Honorable John Cullerton, the Senate President, our state representative Anthony DeLuca, our state Senator Toy Hutchinson, and we even reached out to Al Riley. Currently, our consulting firm is also working on it. There's no way in the world that these facilities can be awarded all over the state of Illinois and none of them come to the majority minority communities. None of them come to the Southland. If this is not an issue that every public official, every resident, all the communities in the surrounding area don't get behind us and fight for this, I don't know when another economic development opportunity will arise like this. There's still an opportunity. The judge has ordered a stay on some of the licenses that were issued. The company that we prefer still has the building rights. They have $1 million deposit at 800 Central Avenue. They are currently paying $60,000 a month to maintain the facility. If they have that much faith in bringing that kind of industry and the opportunity for jobs and employment and subsidizing and lowering our real estate taxes, we should all support that and we should all stand up and fight. We have not been told no yet, and we should not be told no. I've talked to other surrounding mayors, trustees, and everything. We're asking them all to stand behind the village of University Park and fight for an opportunity for this cultivation center. For those who are unaware, these cultivation centers bring an average of $110 million annually revenue to the different municipalities. Mighty, mighty strange that in District 5, no one's been awarded none. Mighty, mighty strange that this company, Phoenix Farms, has scored extremely high and still does not get points for minority participation. So I'm asking you, the residents, and the mayor and the board of trustees to fight with me and do not let this die yet, because it's a great opportunity and we should continue to fight for it. So there'll be a copy of the letter on file at the Village Hall and on email. Can you get on email, Mr. Lanier?
I'll place it on the website.
On the website, I'm sorry. But this is something that's past it. Anytime an opportunity comes where it could make such an economic impact to our local economy and the region, I think we better all get up off our hinds and stand up behind me, stand with me, and let's go fight for an opportunity for the people in this community and in the region. That's my report for today.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Larry Brown.
Strange as it seems, Mayor, I don't have anything.
Okay. Clerk D. Jones.
Just briefly, today, well, if looking around, today is the last day to register to vote for the April 7th election. So if there's anybody in this room who is not registered to vote, you can still do it today. Early voting begins March 23rd and ends on April 4th. And that's about it.
Okay. Mr. Lanier. I have a question.
May I ask Manager Lanier a question? Manager, are you going to attend the meeting with the consultant and the governor?
Is that the meeting scheduled for this Friday?
It's Thursday.
This Thursday?
Yes.
No, I'm already scheduled. My schedule's already full for this Thursday, but I will be in contact with them via telephone.
And
that's the meeting in Springfield, correct?
And please send an email, because some of the things that we're requiring, since right now no funding has been removed from Pine Lake, we're going to ask that the funding still stays for Pine Lake, and we're going to ask them to fight their best for this minority community in University Park for our cultivation center. Okay? Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes. On that, Trustee Perez, yep, they did send us a letter, and we do need to fight for that, because right now they have those fundings on hold.
Yeah, no, not ours.
Yeah, it is, I received a letter, he's cutting everything, I don't know, but right now, ours isn't cut, it's just on hold. So we hope.
Can we obtain a copy of that letter?
That letter is
Yeah.
not a problem.
Can we obtain a
Not a
copy
problem.
of the letter? Okay, thank you.
Union issues, sorry, anybody else, Mr. Lanier? Did we get together with the union issue?
Sorry, so
I'd asked that
union
last board
issues?
meeting, yeah, did we resolve, do we have, because I know there's gonna be a lot of back pay. Are we financially ready for that?
We are,
Negotiations, we finished?
we are currently negotiating with the Acme Union.
Right.
We always anticipate increases in, retro pay when we do these negotiations. We prepare our budget, so we always budget for that.
Okay. So do we know about how much we're gonna have to pay for it? I know it hasn't been done for a year or so.
I believe their contract expired, April. But, we will compute it. I don't have the dollars offhand. I don't know.
Okay, we received, to the clerk, we received something on, about our signs. This ordinance, I have a question, a little concerned about it, because it's, I don't know, this ordinance has been out for a while, and if you look at it, this ordinance has been, I mean, we just had an election, and some of the signs are still out there from the election, from the governor's election. And how do we really work with this? I mean, is it conducive only when certain times, I mean, or do we really study this and we really abide by it, or we just pull it up in whatever particular race we're running, or who's running, or whatever? Because it looked like there's no consistency with this ordinance.
Yeah.
In court, it just fluctuates. I mean, this ordinance has been on file for a while. The ordinance passed in '87, and now, and then passed again in '01, but we didn't abide by it in the last election. We talked about the previous election and then the election before, so now we have to stand to it. I'm not understanding how we're fluctuating with the ordinance.
This was requested by the mayor and the board at the last board meeting. I'm only complying with the mayor and the board asking to do.
I didn't ask you, but my thing is.
As a member of the board.
Yeah, clear. Okay, because I'm just saying, we need to show consistency. If we're gonna hold on to this ordinance, it shouldn't be a request, it should be a standard ordinance that we should follow. It should just come up now. It's just curious to me why we're following it now. We should always follow our ordinances. At all times, because that's money. There's a fine in here. If the people don't pick it up after 5 days, or that they're in our wrong area, signs should be removed within 48 hours after the real estate or rental transactions for which the sign is being displayed, open house sign. There's a lot here, but it's not being followed. That's my issue. We have ordinances in place, and now you pick them up here and there. What are we doing? I don't understand why there's no consistency.
Again, during the last board meeting, the board requested me to enforce this ordinance.
I'm not going to be debatable about it. It's just nor compatible. It's just the ordinance that we have in place, and we're supposed to be abiding by our ordinances. It shouldn't be a request. It should be something we follow. Okay, my report is, I had a positive meeting with someone, and hopefully at the next board meeting, they'll be coming up. They took pictures, and it's a Vital Bank that's interested in University Park, and a person with a wellness center and a grocery store. So hopefully they'll be making presentations at the next board meeting. And I will be pretty busy too. The Economic Development is having a meeting Thursday about what we're doing around town. South Suburban Mayor Managers, Black mayors, they're doing a lot as far as Trustee Perez was saying, getting together with issues that we're all collectively addressing. With that, I have no more. Now we'll do public. General public at this time. General public is Mildred Moore. Mildred Moore. Would you time, please? Thank you. Oh, and we have to be careful. On the last board meeting, Clerk D. Jones said, would you repeat that? I'll let you say that. Which one? about the political, he's made a statement, cannot be political. Shouldn't we make political statements?
Well, my question was to you, Mayor, if you would be allowing political commentary from the general public. Okay.
Should not,
And
yes.
which you said you would not.
Right. We will not do that, nor abusive. And the same thing we say at every board meeting. Watch how we speak to people and have civil manners. Thank you. Ms. Morgan.
Hi, my name is Mildred Morgan, and it's about that time of the year where spring is about to spring. And people of University Park, we love our village. We have a lot of youth here out front of your homes, streets. Please just get out and pick up the paper. I believe it's mostly paper that our youth are throwing out. But the paper and stuff around in the streets, parks and things, let's get out and just clean up our village. We have a wonderful village. I would like to formulate a group of people along with Public Works 2, that's TOO, to come out the last Saturday of this month to just go out. We got the little grabbers and let's pick up paper, clean up our village, make it look like the other villages. Also, political information. I'm glad that Dee Jones, what she says is appropriate and it's rightful, so for her to say those things about political. I was appalled at the last meeting when Ms. Gina Williams got up and just went on and on and on, and Vivian Covington just allowed her, said she could go ahead and say all these political things. Other people have came up here just speaking all about political things and who you should vote for and all of that. That should not be. I repeat myself. That should not be. Mrs. D. Jones, our wonderful clerk, says the right things and the appropriate things. That's enough for the village to know about any political information. If you want political information, step outside the door and get the information. Also, I miss my umbrella. I really do, Mr. Payton. 13,000, then you escalated to 20,000, continued on, and as you speak, 23,000. Now, today, you say 26,000. Oh my goodness. I need my umbrella just about now because you keep exaggerating. And one thing that you do know yourself because, at least I think you do, because you was once the president of District 201U. And you know that the GED is just a simple preparation. But maybe you didn't know. Let me just tell you, the GED that Trustee Liz was so great in doing is just a preparation. You're not going to get the facts and figures of who went ahead on and got their diploma, who walked across the stage. The schools are not going to allow you that. So just know that it's a preparation. And stop lying.
Thank you.
Mr. Payton,
Ms.
please.
Gloria Brookins.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. How's everybody? Just a couple comments. I was looking, and I'm a little confused on what's going on with the agenda. I know that an ordinance was passed on December 9th, moving general public to the end. Consequently, the public was stripped of their ability to speak on items on the agenda. And Trustee Williams, Payton, Mayor Covington, Griffin, and we did voted to do this. I see where Larry Brown voted against it. In addition, the whole agenda was changed. And when you look at your standing rules, according to standing rule number 9, the mayor sets the agenda for every regular meeting and every special meeting. So I guess my question would be, why hasn't it been changed back as it relates to general public? Secondly, I received a newsletter that stated that on January 20th, Williams, Brown, Griffin, and Rudez voted to pass an ordinance to silence the people. Well, there was no board meeting on January 20th. The board meeting was January 27th. However, a motion was made by Trustee Rudez, a second by Trustee Oscar Brown, to table the motion indefinitely. Where I'm confused was that, you know, it was initially said that you could only speak on items related to the agenda. At that meeting, is that when you were restricting people to the agenda? Because I looked at the minutes and all it says is that motion was tabled indefinitely. And then they voted to support it with Trustee Payton, Mayor Covington, and Trustee Brown voting against it. So I'm really confused on what we're doing with this agenda. Because again, I said, your standing rules clearly says the mayor has the ability to do it. So I'd like clarification on that. Also, in that same meeting, what really is confusing is that Trustee Rudez, you said that you disagree with the placement on the agenda for general public comments. It feels it should be moved up on the agenda. My confusion comes because on December 9th, you voted to move it. So I guess I need clarity on what you really feel as it relates to the general public. And I just want to say, when you talked about what people can say and can't say, I think you're really treading on the First Amendment. And I will say this, that I think it's very important that the residents of University Park take a hard look at who's running for office. And we have that right to do that. And make your decisions wisely, because there's a lot of inconsistency going on here. I'm not sure why. I think I know, but I don't want to, actually accuse anybody of anything, but it's really inconsistent. Lastly, as it relates to Governor Rauner and the proposed budget cuts, their budget starts July 1. I mean, they're on a fiscal calendar July 1 through May 30th. Our time. Is it?
Yeah.
You would like this.
But I can address that. Would you like?
Oh, I'd just like to respond on my behalf of Madam. Mrs. Wilkins, the voice of the people shall always be heard, all the time and any time.
Okay.
Yeah, Ms. Barnum, let me just give you some background as to what, as far as I know, happened. We, as you may be aware, is that Ansel and Blank, our former attorney, billed us for 22 months worth of work, $678,000. When we brought in when the group of four here brought in the new attorneys, I voted for them because we needed an attorney. The thought was to try to reduce the cost of the attorney. So there were a lot of things that Ansel and Blank loved sitting through because they were billing us for it, but basically served no useful purpose unless there was an executive session. So the agenda was changed to move public comments to take care of the business first so that the staff who were here could leave. They didn't need to sit through the comments. And so that the attorney could leave also, so they wouldn't bill us anymore. And so that's why the sequence of the agenda was changed. Now, the other thing that we got wrong advice on, and we were corrected on that, is that the attorney said that we could only speak on agenda items, which was not correct. And she contradicted, and I made this comment also when this was brought up, was that Ansel and Blank said that the public could come and speak on whatever they chose to. So, after we didn't find that out really, I think or somebody did some additional research and brought that to our attention that was not part of the statute for the Open Meetings Act, and they could come and speak on whatever they want. So the mayor then tried to change things back, even though the public comments are at the end of the agenda. And the benefit being also is that you can hear what happens in the debate on the issues that we're voting on, and then make comments on that as well. So that's just some of the background as to, you know, what has been transpiring here, and why it seems a little convoluted since, you know, we have done things much more openly, in my mind, progressively over the years.
Okay. Yes, sir. Okay. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry?
If I could.
Sure.
And this is to Mrs. Brookins, and it only refers to the setting of the agenda. In May of 2013, the village board passed an ordinance that amended the duties of the clerk and added
what?
that amended the duties, the ordinance regarding the clerk, and amended the standing rules and added section 23903, which designated the village clerk, section 2010-01, that all items for the agenda would be submitted to the village clerk.
Do you mean 210-1? Right, the standing session rules?
Yeah, no, this one amended section 210.
Yeah, you said 2010.
I'm sorry, 210-01, and it amended Standing Rule 9, which was the section where the mayor set the agenda. So that has been amended.
And what day was that, please?
This was passed on May 14th of 2013.
Okay. And also tell you that last time, as to piggyback on Trustee Milton Payton, he stated that we had came in earlier so people could speak at 6:30, and then I did find out, do research, and I told and I made an announcement, no more 6:30s, people will be able to speak. I talked to the attorney, and I said that for 40-some years, we've always been able to speak freely on any topic and item. And I made the announcement that from this day forward, last board meeting, that people will be able to speak on any topic other than what's on the agenda. Anything that they wanted to speak to, they could. And I would not violate anyone's civil rights of not speaking to anything they'd like to speak on. So that's the statement that I made. Okay?
Could I ask you a question?
Sorry?
Could I ask a question related to that?
I didn't hear you.
Could I respond back to that?
Oh, we can't. We can't. I'll talk to you outside. Ms. Gina Williams.
Good evening, Mayor, Board of Trustees, and residents. I was unaware at the last meeting that I was at, I made one political statement. I didn't overspeak my time, Mrs. Morgan.
Several statements.
And I don't appreciate you saying things that are not true about me.
Look at the tape.
Don't come for me unless I
Please.
send for you.
Look at the tape.
Look at
This is
the
her
tape.
time. Ms. Williams just
Then tell her to
addressed.
talk to you, don't talk to me.
Excuse me.
Talk to the handmaid.
Excuse me. You can comment. She made your statement, your name. You can
Make your
Okay,
statement.
I'm not the one with the police running up on me saying I'm
And I
gonna,
love
we'll
it.
both be dancing in front of the camera.
And I
Well, cha-cha real smooth,
I
baby.
love it.
Cha-cha real smooth.
excuse me. Would you not
Anyway.
interrupt her, please, Miss? Please
Tell her
let her
stop
speak.
talking to me.
Could you, officer, could you
Tell her
please
talk
get
to
some
you.
order?
And don't say nothing to me.
In response to Mr. Rudez, he was mentioning the cultivation, and I was under the impression, I thought everyone did get a letter of accreditation, and if there is anything we can do to make sure that University Park gets the cultivation or, you know, the revenue, by all means, if there's a letter or something we can do, I'm on board with that. It doesn't matter whether it's Prairie Farms or who, we just want to see our village get hold of that, because it's too great of an opportunity to miss. One thing I don't understand is lately the some of the flyers were saying something about a Democratic primary, and I was unfamiliar with a primary taking place in University Park.
You can't do political. Excuse me, are you addressing the question to the clerk?
I just wanted to know, was there a primary?
Talk to her lady.
Excuse me.
Oh, my bad. Talk to the lady.
Ms. Williams, the Democratic Party filed their petitions to participate in the primary election that was held on February 24th. These petitions were filed in November. There was no primary because there was no opposition to their filing their petitions, which did not generate a primary. But it automatically, since they were uncontested, they took first preference. It would automatically place them first on the ballot for the consolidated election. But they filed their papers for a primary. But because there was no opposition, they were considered winners of a primary that was not held.
Okay, well, I'm glad you clarified that because it made it seem like we, the residents, missed out on something. I didn't know it was a primary because I certainly would have been voting. I've always voted since I turned 18, so I was like unaware of
Ms.
that.
Williams.
So,
Thank you. You want to say something, Trustee?
Yeah, I would like to just comment on Clerk Jones. When she says the Democratic Party, she's not. When she says the Democratic Party, she's talking about the People's Choice Democratic Party, not the Democratic Party. Because Jim Harris, who is the chairperson of the Moni Township Democratic Party, was incensed that they would even use the word Democrat. And I also, and he sent a letter out, and he was very incensed. He felt that those that were involved in that were misleading the public, thinking that it was the actual Democratic Party. In addition to that, I saw a letter from the chairman of the Democratic Party for Will County, who was equally as upset that the word a Democrat was being used. In fact, I'm told that they're going to have, the Concerned Citizens Committee is going to have a meeting here on March the 28th, Saturday, March the 28th, where Mr. Harris and other officials will be present to discuss this whole matter.
I'd like to, I'm sorry, there was one report. I'm sorry, yes, sir.
Just to piggyback off of what Trustee Rudess said, several candidates filed petitions for a Democratic primary. It's a process that's open to anybody that's aware of the election law. There is a primary, and if no one else files for the primary, the people who did file for the primary run unopposed, which means we move on to the general election as Democratic nominees, or for those who aspire to try and keep it down political. That's it and that's all. People need to know the rules. We follow, the candidates who filed these petitions follow the election law as it's written. We filed for a primary. We were uncontested. The people who filed these were uncontested, and now those persons are the Democratic nominees for the upcoming election.
Thank you, sir. Just for clarification as well, too, no one was aware of it, so that's why they couldn't contest it. No one knew that they were running, so that's why it was uncontested. But for 47 years in the Village of University Park, we've always been nonpartisan. Most of the areas around the village are nonpartisan. So had someone known that that was the case, maybe they would have contested or attacked it or not. But that it is what it is. But we all are Democrats, but you know, we're nonpartisan. Okay, here I forgot. I'm sorry. I had another report from the South Suburban Mayor Managers to let you know the good news. University Park, we're still 11, as Trustee Griffin has stated. I go to the meeting, I'm a member of it. We're still eligible for the $4 million that will happen in April. And I know the pastor, I've called him, and he would like to make an announcement. He came in late, make an announcement at this time. He made a phone call to me. Like to still make your announcement?
4 million on what? What is the 4 million for?
For our April levy. April levy. The report was made earlier.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
How's everybody doing? Please forgive my tardiness. We had a meeting at the church and got over here as soon as I could. We have members of our community awareness ministry who are here on occasion here, so I just wanted to come myself today. You should all be getting a letter for those who are running for office, inviting you to a community forum wherein the persons who are running we will be able to share with congregation and community what it is. We do it every time that there's an election. So those letters did go out today. It will happen on March 23rd.
7 p.m.
March 23rd, 7 p.m. Monday, March 23rd, 7 p.m. One more time, 3 times charm. March 23rd, Monday, March 23rd, 7 p.m. And we look forward to having you. Appreciate you, the work that you all do. And while I got the mic, give a preacher a microphone in a minute, you might take it. But I want to invite each of you all, as well as our viewing audience, out to, we're having a revival each Wednesday of this month. Each Wednesday of the month, where we try to bring the community congregation together to be inspired, renewed, rejuvenated. And so you all are invited. We're calling it March Gladness, and we'll be glad to have you each and every Wednesday this month. All right? Thank you for your service. That's at First Baptist Church. Good call. I appreciate that. First Baptist Church of University Park. 450 University Park. If you get lost, it's right next to the car wash.
And speaking of which, Pastor, I did your request, and I talked to Mr. Lanier, and you are permitted to use the area for extra parking.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And speaking of that too, as far as voting, illegal women voters tried to, and I'm sorry that this happened, they made an attempt to have a forum as well, but we need to maybe do an ordinance on that, allowing them to come into the village and have a forum. They were really disappointed that they were not allowed really to use the facility to do a service for the residents of University Park. So since they said First Baptist is having one, they'll just not out this time. So with that said, I'd like a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? Second?
All right.
All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. All right.